So now we're going to do the back bodice draft. So the first line that you're going to draw is your center back. When we did the front, we had the center back on the right. Now we're going to have it on the left. That way you can put your two slopers next to each other and you can check side seams. So you're going to do this first line is what's the full length measurement, which for the back was 17.5 inches. So I'm going to draw a 17.5 inch line straight down my paper. So there's 17.5. And the top of that line is A, and the bottom of it is B. And again, I like to record the dimension I used, which was 17.5. Then we're going to go across the shoulder, and that's 8 inches. So square up at location A, make sure your ruler is nice and squared, and draw 8 inches. So here's my 8. There's 8. So this becomes C over here, and that was 8 inches. So can you see that on the camera? Okay, there we go. So you have a nice 90-degree square here that's 17.5 by 8. I apologize for any glare, but if I don't have bright light down here, you can't see anything. So then we're going to do the center back length. So we want to know up here at A, how far does our neck drop? Does the garment drop down from our shoulder to the back of our neck? And that back neck length is 16 3/4. So I'm going to come from the bottom up, 16 3/4. And I'm going to draw a line at that location. And I'm going to bring it out about 4 inches. So come across like this with about a 4-inch line. And this location here becomes D. 16 3/4. All right. Next, we're going to do the back arc. Oh, no, we need to center. Hold on. So what we're going to do next is we're coming across the waist to get that dimension. It's called the back arc. So you're taking that back arc measurement plus 3/4 of an inch. So I had 8 5/8. That makes that 9 3/8 that I'm going to come across here. So again, you want to square it. So I'm going to put this edge against there. And this is 9 3/8. There's 9 3/8 right there. And that's location E. So I'm going to square up from E about 11 inches. Pretty much the same thing we did in the front. So put this along the BE coordinate and go up about 11 inches. Make a nice square straight line. So here we pretty much have a block other than the opening for the armhole. So next we're going to do our back neck plus 1/8 of an inch. So that winds up being 3 1/8 inch. So I'm going to come across here at 3 1/8. And I'm going to make a little mark. I want to know where that 3 1/8 is. And this location is going to become F. So next we're going to come across and we're going to make our diagonal line, which is called the shoulder slope. So how far from our high point of shoulder going down our arm does our shoulder slope. And that dimension is whoops. So we're coming up at an angle from B, and it's going to be 17 1/8 inch. And I need a 3-inch line coming down from C, squared up. So let's add this line. Okay. And then that's the line that I'm aiming for when I come from B and I'm going up. So this length that was 17 1/8 inch, if you set your ruler on that corner, you're going to angle it for that 17 1/8 inch until the square part of the ruler touches C. That's how we're going to determine what that angle is. So 17 1/8. So I'm going to draw a line at this angle. There we go. So this location where it touches C now becomes G. That was 17 1/8. Hopefully I'm going slow enough that you can work with me. When you see a pause, that's a good location for you to stop the tape and do some of the work. I'm trying to manipulate this recording that you'll be able to start and stop it to work along. So the next step is to do the shoulder length. So we're going to be drawing a line from F through the line that falls down from C. It's going to go at an angle. And then we're going to square up the corner. So I'm going to place my ruler, the point of my ruler, on F. And I want my shoulder slope or shoulder length to be 5 3/4 inches. And it has to intersect the C line where it touches at G. So it's going to extend past the C. I need 5 3/4 inch. So I'm coming across here. 5 3/4 is out here. So it extends a little bit past it. And this new location is going to be H. So that was 5 3/4. And over here at F, if you leave that ruler up there, square with the line that you just made, you want to bring F down to this D line, and it's going to be at an angle. The next thing is we're going to go from our center back over to where the dart placement would be. And that is going to be, let's see, 3 1/4 inch. And like the front, this is where the princess line would be, from the center of the waist to where a princess line would be. So that is 3 1/4. So I'm going to come over 3 1/4, and I'm going to make a little mark right there, and that is going to be I. And it was 3 1/4. We have a dart intake of 1 inch. So make a little hash mark where that 1 inch is, and that's going to be the other side of the dart. The dart is going to be split in half, so if you break that in half, that's a 1/2 inch. So these will be our dart legs. We're going to have a dart going up here to reduce the waist from the bust area. To get to our side seam here, this is where you're going to have to do some math. We're looking at the waist arc, which was 6 5/8, plus the dart intake, which is 1.5 inches, and then you want a 1/4 inch ease. So when you add that all up, that comes to 8 3/8 inches. So I'm going to go over here, 8 3/8, and that's right here. And that's where my side seam is going to be. So that becomes J. So this is actually ILK, the dart. From J, we want to square down 3/8 of an inch, because remember, our waist is curved, so this needs to curve down, and it's only 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to draw this little mark down here below. So remember, 3/8 is 1/8 inch more than 1/4 inch. So we've got that marked. Your side length going up at an angle is 8 3/8 inches. Make sure you check your measurement. Don't go with my measurements. This one is for a 10 is 8 3/8, and it's going to go up at an angle. So from J, I want to go at an angle wherever 8 3/8 is going to touch the side seam. So I just rotate this out until, so we're at that little juncture below the line, and then 8 3/8 is right there. So here's my side seam right there, and that new location is going to be N, and it was 8 3/8. So to make our dart, we're going to square up from that L, which is the center of the dart intake, and you're going to do 1 inch less than what your side seam was. So if this is 8 3/8, we're going to go up 7 3/8, and that's the center of our dart. So this becomes O up here, and it was 7 3/8. To make our dart legs, you are going to go from O down through I, and you're going to go 1/8 inch below that straight line that's from B to E. So from the top of the dart down through I at an angle and 1/8 inch past. And then the same thing with O to K, come down, but remember, come 1/8 inch past. And that's because our waist is curved. So this is a pretty standard measurement for that dart. So the next thing we want to do is we want to draw some curved lines. So from B to I, and actually you could use this like very curved ruler if you got one. You don't want this to loop up. We want it to just be a sloping curve from B to I. So slide your ruler until the straight part of the ruler is at B and the curved part is down at I. So that's that curve. And then you do the same thing from K to M. Oops. So where you squared down here below J, that was that 3/8 inch, and the 1/8 inch below on the right side of the dart leg, you're connecting those together with a curved ruler. So you get a nice curved waistline. So now we need to draft our shoulder dart. you need a shoulder dart in the back because our back is curved. It's not flat. So we need to take up a little bit of excess fabric that would be in the shoulder area if we didn't do that. And so you want to divide this line F to H in half. So that's 2 5/8. So here is because it's 5 1/2, so half of 5 is 2 1/2, and then half of this would be 1/4, so that would be, let's see, 2 1/2, no, 1/8, 2 1/2, so half would be 4/8, and then half of that is 1/8, so that becomes 5. No, you have 5 and 1/4, so then we're going to have 2 5/8. And you can double check it. I'm going to put a little hash mark here. That's 2 5/8. Was it 2 5/8 this way? Yep. Sorry, this line was, my measurement was 5 3/4. So if I divide that in half, that's 2 5/8. So there's that halfway mark, 2 5/8. And we're going to come down with a 3-inch line that should point towards your dart down here. So basically, you're connecting this here with this. Sometimes it helps to draw a dashed line, because your shoulder dart and your waist dart should always be pointing at each other. If the one's off this way and one's off that way, it's very awkward looking. So we're actually connecting those. And then I'm going to draft my dart. So I want to come down 3 inches. So this is 3 inches. And make a little mark, and that's going to be the length of your shoulder dart. You never want the shoulder dart to be longer than that. It's it would bring your back of your shirt out too much and have it stand away from the body. So that dart is 3 inches long, and it's pointing towards O. So to make your dart, you're going to move over 1/4 of an inch on each side of that line that you brought up from O. And the bottom of your dart is, it's a 3-inch line. So then you're going to match the 3 up to 1/4 inch on each side of this halfway mark. But your dart is also going to extend 1/8 of an inch above that line on both sides. So those are your dart legs. I hope you can see. Let's see. Yeah, you can see it.